A very good morning, children. Welcome back to the English online class. Children, in today's online session, we are going to start with a new topic of grammar, that is models. So, today we will begin with models. So, first, let us know what are models. Language is not always used simply to exchange information by making simple statements and asking questions. Sometimes you want to make the request, offer, or suggestions, or to express your wishes or intentions. You may want to be polite or tactful or to indicate your feelings about what you are saying. Models enables you to do these things with English. Models are thus a special kind of auxiliary, that is helping verb, which are used with main verb to express the speaker's attitude towards the action. The principal English model verbs are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, and would. Certain other verbs are sometimes, but not always, classed as models. These include ought, had better, and, in certain uses, dare and need. Now let us see the use of models. The first one is here, can. Can is used to show the ability to do something. For example, number 1, he can solve this sum. Number 2, I can drive a car. Number 3, she can speak English. Number 4, I can swim across the river. Number 5, he can type 80 words per minute. In all these sentences, can expresses the ability to do something. It means be able to, know how to, be capable of. It can also be rewritten as under, he is able to solve this sum. He is capable of solving this sum. He knows how to solve this sum. So without using can, how we can write these sentences? These are the examples. Inability is expressed by cannot. It means be incapable of or be unable of. For example, number 1, he cannot drive a car. Number 2, I cannot help you in this matter. Number 3, he can't hear. He is deaf. Can is used to seek or grant permission in an informal tremor. For example, you can go home now. Number 2, you can come whenever you like. Number 3, you can go only when you have finished your work. Number 4, can I have an ice cream, mother? All these sentences show that the subject is granting or seeking permission to do something. Here, can means be permitted to, be allowed to. We can rewrite these sentences as you are allowed to go home. This is the sentence 1. That was you can go home now. We can rewrite this sentence as you are allowed to go home now. Cannot express prohibition. For example, you cannot go before you have finished your work. Number 2, you cannot travel without a ticket. Number 3, the visitors cannot park their cars at the gate. In all these sentences, certain actions are prohibited. Can is used to express a possibility. The use of can usually shows a theoretical possibility, that is the possibility of a certain For example, number 1, pets can be very troublesome. Number 2, anyone can make such mistakes. Number 3, the accident can happen to anyone. In all these sentences, the use of can expresses the possibility of an idea. Cannot is used to express impossibility. For example, I am afraid I cannot tell you that. It is a secret. Number 2, she cannot be his mother. She is too young. In general statements, can has the same meaning as sometimes or on sonic occasion. For example, number 1, he can be rude. It means he is sometimes very rude. Delhi can be very cold in winter. Can't help is an idiomatic expression. It means can't avoid. I can't help laughing at his foolish remarks. Now let us see the use of could. Could is used to express the past tense of can. He could drive a car at the age of 10. My uncle could speak live languages. He said that I could go whenever I liked. So these are the examples where could is used. Could is also used to express ability in the past. For example, here, I could swim across the river when I was young. Number 2, she could speak English when she was 10. Number 3, 20 years ago, I could run a mile in 10 minutes. In these sentences, the use of could expresses the ability to do something in the past. These sentences can be rewritten as I was able to swim across the river when I was young. Number 2, she was able to speak English when she was 10. Number 3, 20 years ago, I was able to run a mile in 10 minutes. The idea of inability in the past is expressed by could not. For example, number 1, 5 years ago, he could not even feed his children. Number 2, they could not understand it because it was too difficult. Could have expresses an ability which was not made use of. For example, how we can use could have? Let's see. He could have availed himself of the opportunity, but he did not. He could have finished the work on time, but he did not. Could is used to express the possibility in sentences. For example, if I had the money, I could buy that house. He could write in neat hand if he chose. I could have helped him in if he had asked me. He could be successful if he had tried hard. So these were the examples of could, where it can be expressed the possibility in sentences. Could is used to seek permission or make a polite request in the form of a question. For example, number 1, could I finish my work tomorrow and go home now? Number 2, could I have a pay rise? Number 3, could I open the window? The same idea can be expressed by using can or may. However, the use of could suggests that the permission is sought in a polite and hesitant manner. Would can be used in place of could, but could is a little more polite. Now let us see number 3, the use of may. May is used to speak or grant permission. in informal manner. For example, number 1, may I leave now? Number 2, you may go home when you have finished your work. Number 3, you may ask for anything you want. Number 4, may I come in, sir? We can use can to seek or grant permission, but the use of may is considered more formal and more polite. May is used to express a factual possibility, the possibility of a fact. For example, number 1, the sky is overcast with clouds. It may rain. Number 2, I'm feeling well now. I may attend the meeting. Can is also used to express a possibility. However, the use of may expresses a stronger possibility than can does. May is used in the subordinate clause to express a purpose. For example, number 1, he works hard so that he may get good marks. Number 2, we eat that we may live. May is also used to express a personal wish if that wish concerns someone else. For example, number 1, may you live long. Number 2, may God bless you. Now let us see the number 4, use of might. Might is used to express the past tense of may. For example, number 1, I was afraid that if I asked him again, he might refuse it. Might is used to express extreme politeness while seeking permission or making a request. For example, number 1, might I have a word with you? Might I make a suggestion? Might is used to express a doubtful possibility, that is, something which is possible but not very likely. For example, number 1, he has not promised, but he might come. May or might is used in conditional sentences to express a possible result. For example, if you apologize, he may forgive you. If we do not hire a taxi, we might miss the train. Might plus perfect infinitive is used in speculation about a past action. For example, he might have disclosed the secret. He might have gone without telling anybody. Now let us see number 5, the use of will. Will is used with the second person and the third person to form future tense. For example, number 1, you will get promotion in due course. Number 2, she will be 16 next month. Here, will does not have any modal value. It is used to express pure future, that is, to make a statement of future fact where only time is evolved. Will is used with the first person to express willingness and offer. I will supply the things you need. We will help you as far as possible. So these are the examples where the first person expresses willingness and offer. Will is used with the first person to express determination also. For example, number 1, I will mend my vase. Number 2, we will give him a warm reception. Will is also used with the first person to express promise and intention. For example, number 1, I will agree to anything. Number 2, we will give him a warm reception. Number 3, I will not take more than an hour. Will is also used with the first person to express a threat. For example, I will have him punished. We will take some strong step to mend you. I will let him know who the master here is. Will is used with the second person to express a polite request. For example, number 1, will you post this letter for me, please? Number 2, will you type this letter for me? The use of will you express a polite request. It is not to ask a question. Will you is used in exclamation that then it is really an order. For example, number 1, will you keep quiet? Number 2, will you stop bothering me? Will is used with a second person to express a polite invitation. For example, number 1, will you have another cup of tea? Number 2, will you attend my birthday party? Will is also used to inquire about the intention, willingness, and wish of the person spoken to. For example, will you accompany me to the railway station? Will he agree to my proposal? Will is also used to express a prediction or introduce an assumption. For example, he will never deceive me. Now, number 6, use of shall. Shall is used with the first person to express simple future, that is, when only time is involved. For example, number 1, I shall see him sometime. Number 2, we shall leave for Calcutta this evening. Number 3, I shall see you tomorrow. Shall is also used with the second person and third person to express a command. For example, number 1, I say you shall do it. Number 2, he shall report for duty tomorrow. Shall is also used with the second person and third person to express a threat. For example, he shall be punished for his misbehavior. They shall report against us if we do not behave properly. He shall turn you out of the job. So these were the examples. Shall is also used with the second person and the third person to give a promise or an assurance. For example, number 1, you shall get a bicycle by if you get A grade. Number 2, ask for a reward and you shall have it. Shall is used in questions with the first person to know what the person addressed wishes or suggests or thinks. For example, shall I fetch a doctor? Shall we dance? Shall I make a cup of tea for you? Shall I get the first prize for my fine performance? In these sentences, the speaker wants to know the desire or wish of the person addressed. In all these sentences, it is the person addressed, you, who is to decide. Now let us see the use of would. Would is used to refer to the past form of will and shall. For example, number 1, he said that he would look into the matter himself. Number 2, we will inform that he would preside over the meeting. Would is used to express happening or actions that were frequent or occurred from time to time. For example, every Sunday he would visit his uncle. My grandmother would feed sparrows every morning. Would is used to express a suggestion or polite request. For example, Would you lend me your book? Number 2, would you post this letter for me, please? The same idea can be expressed with will. The use of would, however, shows that the person who is suggesting or requesting is hesitant and slightly more polite. Would is used in conditional sentences to express the imagined result of an imagined or supposed condition. For example, number 1, if I were you, I would help him. Number 2, if he worked hard, he would have passed. The expression would like to is used to express a wish or preference. For example, I would like to ask you for a favor. Number 2, he would like to go with us. Now let us see number 8, the use of should. Should is used to give advice. This advice may be given to a particular person, or it may be a general statement of what is good. For example, number 1, you should not buy that house. Number 2, you should look into the matter yourself. Should is used to express a duty or moral obligation. For example, number 1, you should obey your parents. You should pay taxes in time. Should is less forceful than must. It does not imply compulsion or command. The statement with should is more like advice than a command. Should is used in written instructions to express a polite command. For example, candidates should write on either side of the page. Should is also used to express a probable condition. For examples, number 1, should he work hard, he will pass. Should they play well, they will win. Number 9, use of must. Must is used to express duty, compulsion, necessity, and obligation. I am repeating again. Must is used to express duty, compulsion, necessity, and obligation. For example, number 1, you must clear the dues before the 10th of March. So here it is compulsion. Second, we must hurry. We are very late. So here must expresses necessity. Number 3, it is getting pretty dark. I must leave our home. Here must is expressing duty. Number 4, we must devote some time to social service. Here must in this sentence expresses obligation. Number 10, use of ought to. Ought to is used to express some moral duty or social obligation. I repeat again, ought to is used to express some moral duty or social obligation. For example, number 1, society ought to look after the handicapped. Number 2, students ought to obey their teachers. The idea of obligation can be expressed with should and must also. However, ought to is used when a feeling of duty is involved. Duty is involved. The negative form of ought to is ought not to. Now, number 11, the use of need. Need is used in two ways. As a regular verb, we need For example, we need rest to alter hard work. As a model, used only in questions and negative sentences. In questions, need is used wherever there is a strong element of doubt or when the speaker expects a negative answer. For example, need I go there? Now, number 12, use of dare. Dare means to venture. It is used in negative sentences and questions. As, for example, number 1, he dare not oppose me. Number 2, how dare you enter the girls' hostel? Now, number 13 is the use of used to. Used to express a habit in the past. For example, my grandmother used to feed sparrows when she lived in a village. Used to be expressed something that existed to the past. For example, there used to be a park where they have set up a shopping center. Now, the last one is the 14th one, use of has, have to, had to, shall, will have to. Has, have to, had to and shall, will have to are used to express necessity or obligation. I repeat again, these all models are used to express necessity or obligation. In present tense, we use has, have to, as I have to finish my home task by 4 p.m. The watchman has to open the school gate at 6 a.m. every day. The patient has to see the doctor. In the past tense, we use had to. For example, number 1, I had to milk the cow yesterday. Number 2, I had to cook food because my mother was not feeling well. In future tense, we use will have to with the first person and shall have to with the second person and the third person. For example, number 1, I will have to work a bit hard to top the class. Number 2, you shall have to pay a fine of ₹20 for not attending the extra classes. So children, I hope that you all have understood in today's session what are models. Thank you.